You mentioned injuries. Hockey players are crazy, right? Because I've seen hockey players play with broken legs,
Mhm.
spleens coming out of their bodies, and like all kinds of wacky. Like they're crazy, right? Hockey players are
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It crazy or dedicated or they don't want. I think hockey players hate excuses more than anything else. They don't want excuses for anything.
It's the only sport. Like it legit is the only sport where that's okay.
I I think some of this it's always been a thing. It's not like it just started up one
Right.
year and everybody was like, "Oh, hey, let's just hide what we're doing wrong here." But I think back to when Joe Thornton was with the Bruins and they got reverse swept out by the Flyers. I think it was the Flyers. Was that '09? Or no, it was Montreal. Sorry. They got beat by Montreal and Montreal was the lower seed and it's the Habs and the Bruins like that's blood rivalry. And I think they lost to Montreal and lost in 7 games and Thornton looked like garbage. He did not look like the guy that we watched all season and everybody was killing him in Boston. Like classic, pre Red Sox winning a title, killing guys every time they looked, they didn't do something right on the radio and everything. And
Sports
Thornton
radio at
got
its
murdered.
finest.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Thornton was getting killed by everybody, and they were just kind of like, all right. So then the end of the season stuff comes up, and Thornton was like had some like heinous like rib injury or something like that, where it's like, Jesus, how the hell did you even get up in the morning? Like one of those kind of things. And everybody's like, yeah, whatever. Loser talk.
Suck
He's
it
just,
up.
yeah, just, yeah, whatever. And he was traded like a month into the season the following year, and then he won MVP from the Sharks
Jeez.
that same season. So I mean, but I mean, I think back to like what Matthew Kachuk had last year, where it was like boy, he had like a fractured sternum,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
and
something
like
crazy.
Yep.
get out of here, like fractured sternum. I'm laying in bed
I mean,
until God knows when.
it's nuts.
Can't breathe. I'm just gonna be like laying there, catatonic. Like I wish
Gasping
the
for
pain would
air.
stop. Right,
I mean,
and
yeah.
it's crazy stuff like that. Like who else was it? It was like a couple other defensemen had like heinous, like Montour and Ekblad had like horrible shoulder injuries
Mm.
and just all this kind of stuff. I think that was like from when they were in the finals a couple years ago. But it was just that stuff is routine now, and I think it really just all stems from these guys hate excuses. They don't want excuses for why they didn't play well enough because they're just like, whatever, I got to do better. That's the hockey culture brain wiring, and they just play through it and keep going, and you won't hear about it until the season's over, and even then, maybe you won't still because sometimes these guys will just be like, yeah, well, whatever, it's something else. Like what was the trade the Sabres made this year where they added Josh Norris. They traded Dylan Cousins, got Josh Norris, and Norris has had a horrible injury like his whole career. He had like 3 different shoulder surgeries. Like he's like 25, maybe 26. He's had like just the worst luck. He's missed multiple seasons because of this stuff. And he comes to Buffalo and he plays hard for like 3 games and then he's out. And then we don't find out like why he's out. We're just kind of like, he's working on it. He'll be back soon, be back soon. And then there's 2 games to go in the season. We're like, so he's not coming back, is he? And they're like, well, we'll see. And it's like, okay, well, so we talked to him at the end of the year, and he's like, "Yeah, I had a torn oblique."
I mean,
Jeez, when did you have a torn oblique? February. So the team knew about it. They're like, "Yeah, okay," but from what they say, it's the kind of injury where you know if you're not getting it operated on, which he definitely didn't want to get it operated on. I don't blame him. He's had enough surgeries. If you can play through it and everything, kind of works itself out, you can be okay. But it flared up again and got bad. And he was like, well, we can't push it. And I'm just kind of like, that's a guy that'll play through like, having his leg cut off because he's just like, well, I just want to keep playing because he's been off the ice for so much. Like that's another part of that mentality where, a guy's got like a heinous injury where you're just like, geez, no, no, like, no, I'd be in the hospital for a week. And they're just kind of like, well, I'll figure it out. Sure.